Hello and welcome to A Key to Quality Performance. This presentation that you're watching, it features economic hazards. And why does it do that? Is because I want to highlight some commonly occurring and serious oversights in the SWOT analysis. My name is Bob Lewis. This video will highlight the potential impact economic hazards have re-threatening performance or viability. Now, these threats need to be addressed as part of your SWOT analysis. Now, when I talk about performance or viability, let me clarify. Simply, I'm talking about is the ability for you to continually perform, to keep earning money. I'm talking about not having the continuity of performance unnecessarily, and I want to emphasize unnecessarily, interrupted by something that could be prudently avoided. And just in case the term SWOT analysis has passed by you without you recognizing what it means, may I explain that simply it is an exercise that should in some form or other be undertaken by anyone or any business that is results or performance orientated. SWOT is merely an acronym for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. And feel free to email me to request for free, no charge, SWOT analysis worksheets. I'm happy to pass those on to you. Now, who can benefit? Well, anywhere where there are people whose outcomes are performance based. Now, that can be in business, blindingly obvious, sport the same, the arts the same, or any profession that is performance driven and will dependent on key individuals or groups for results. Now, I'm fully aware that the purpose of the SWOT analysis is twofold. We can over explain it, but all boiled down, let's just keep it very basic. It's to protect what you have and to grow what you have. Your SWOT analysis is therefore challenging you. I like that, challenging you to be best placed by being best equipped to protect what you have and to be best equipped to grow what you have. Now, to highlight the impact of threats, let's paint a picture. Let's take someone who just lives in suburbia and this is their situation. They have a standard of living. The point I want to make here can be extrapolated to include business enterprises of any size. You just take the principle. That's all that I want to establish here as a principle. So people live somewhere from luxury, comfort, average, below average, or poverty. Okay, now let's say that's you. This is your situation. Now you may be single or you may be in a family unit situation. Okay, now the reason that you're not tumbling down that precariously placed position, which was somewhere average to comfort being your standard of living, is that you have something holding you at your standard of living. And you'll notice I dotted in because it's not always a permanent thing. It's not there forever. And that, in this case, as you've guessed, is your income. Your income determines your standard of living. Very fundamental point. Unfortunately, the world is not all wholesome and lovely and all that all the time, although it is wholesome and lovely. There are things called economic hazards and they can come home to bite you. And in this case, we're talking about threats that can maybe either permanently or temporarily take away your income. And should one of these occur, obviously just from a graphic point of view, you and your family standard of living will plummet to goodness knows how far it may be allowed to plummet to. So the prudent thing is to do that while you have your income. You do this planning, and so while you have your income, you take certain steps. So the wise and prudent thing, I call it, I like to use that expression. You know, we want to address those things that negate or those things that can limit it, those things that have a terrible financial impact before they occur. So and that's why you embrace the SWOT analysis. It's pretty common sense, isn't it? Okay. So the idea is, let's take an example. Most of us look at in some hazards, we have to take a reactive approach. I've said there it's essential. We need a reactive approach sometimes. What's an example of that? An example is that your fire and general insurance, say that you derive your income from a certain premises and that premises all is demanding sales and customers just come in the door, buy from you or you and your assistants. You've got stock on the shelves, all those things. If you woke up one morning and that business was burnt down, your income immediately stops. But what you've done in the meantime, of course, prior to that, knowing that that's an eventuality that does occur in some cases, you got your general insurance advisor out. He or she did an appraisal capitalised the cost of rebuilding the business, looked at costs of paying wages to staff, loss of profits, maybe even relocating, all sorts of things, so that money is delivered here as a wedge. And so therefore, sure, the income's taken away and your standard of living could have plummeted, but no, a big capital sum is delivered, or some of it is a capital sum and some of it is in fact a trickle of is a regular income. But you are able to maintain your standard of living. That's very common sense. And as I said, it's a reactive approach. You don't want the building to burn down. You'd sooner be where you are, and it's an essential approach. Okay, so you did that while you still had your income. Now my role is a proactive approach. I work in areas where there are certain threats that we can plan to negate or limit prior to them happening, and therefore hopefully they never happen. Okay, so what is my uniqueness? I focus 100% on the one area that is either ignored or glossed over by consultants in my field. I focus 100% on the area of my expertise, and I believe this area is ignored or glossed over simply because of the lack of real, workable, meaningful and affordable solutions in this area. Those things no longer apply. There are real, workable, meaningful and affordable solutions now. So I'm fully aware that those who are successful with money, they prioritize spending, or expenses if you want to call it that, into two categories. They say this is essential spending and this is discretionary. I can defer that for a little longer, or I don't even have to make that. I'll choose not to spend there. Now, those who are unsuccessful with money, in my experience, do not do this. Very simple. So therefore, obvious common sense tells us that in being best equipped to handle economic hazards, threats if you like, in order to at least protect what you have and to be best equipped to grow what you have, we need to place any spending to achieve such under the heading of essential expenditure. And just to underline that, go back to our example of your building burning down. If you were very laissez-faire about paying premiums in that circumstance and the policy lapsed, you could see that the first devastating thing that would happen is you've immediately lost your income, and the second thing is you may have lost a lifetime's work, and that would be tragic. Now, because of, in my area, what I ask clients to do very often generates a dividend, what I call a dividend factor for them. I would argue such spending in my area equates actually to investing. People are better off. So okay, you now want to know what are the threats I focus on. So good. Now please take 20 minutes of your time to view the video entitled A Key to Quality Performance Part 1. The video can be viewed at that website. There are no strings attached. There's no email address required, no contact number required. You can just view this unconditionally. You can even share it unconditionally if you like. So that will explain where I'm coming from, and I hope you find it enlightening. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and in advance I'd like to thank you for taking the time to spend the 20 minutes watching A Key to Quality Performance Part 1 at www.thehealthmoneybox.com, and there, if you need, are my contact details. Thank you once again, and look forward to hearing from you in the near future. Bye for now.